Distribution network strategy is a strategic effort to determine the best or optimal location of facilities throughout a network. When I say strategic, it's because it's not done on a daily basis, an operational or tactical. It's done every several months or every year to determine how many facilities you need and what that optimal set might be. The questions that a distribution network strategy answers include: how many facilities do I need? Where should they be? How big should they be? How many customers does each facility serve? And lastly, an option is to actually model the manufacturing network as well. Where should we manufacture what product based on cost, capacities, et cetera. But a lot of the time, companies will just model the network of the distribution portion of their model rather than the manufacturing as well. Why do we do a distribution network strategy analysis? Well, we want to come up with the optimal distribution network that gives us the lowest cost, that meets or exceeds our customer service levels required for our company. You know, a big part of network strategy is, or one of the biggest benefits, is you can actually save 15% of your total distribution costs by doing this particular analysis. Many locations in a network were arrived at or chosen because of non-optimal reasons. So things like, did somebody live nearby? Did someone have space in a facility that wasn't optimal location? However, it actually was cheap at the time, but it may not work right now. So we need to look at all the locations of the network and say, what is best for our current needs? Is our facility full? And so where do we go with the next level of volume from that facility, because we're now full in that facility, to go somewhere else? And the distribution network models, the more sophisticated ones, handle this capacity issue very, very well. If people are trying to do like back of the envelope calculation, they don't do a very good job of this capacity issue if we fill out a particular facility. It's where do we go next with that volume. The other thing we want to do is maybe if a lease is expiring for a facility and we have to get out of a facility, where do we want to go with that volume? Do we want to go somewhere close by, or do we even need that facility anymore? So that's another reason, if we have a lease expiring, why we would do a distribution network strategy. Another one is we're entering a new market. We want to say, okay, say we're going to a new region, either a new state or a new country. We want to take a look through this model to say, what should our costs look like if we add a facility in this particular region? Or do we even need a facility in that region? Can we serve that region from one of our existing facilities and still keep our costs down while meeting service levels? What are some of the conditions we need to do a successful network strategy? One is we have to have really good data. We have to have accurate data, has to be up to date, and we have to make sure it's complete. We have to have a team of personnel involved in doing the network optimization or network strategy, because we have to get buy-in from people so that when we can make a recommendation at the end of the analysis, that people already are in agreement. So we don't want them coming back and pushing back on why did we change that, why should we do it. We want to get their buy-in on the front end. So talk with them, make the assumptions that are being made, and then on the back end, we're not going to have to convince them. If we have an optimized network, that means we have the right flows at the lowest costs, meeting the service levels that we need. The network strategy modeling is a very sophisticated process. People have to have a very unique skill set to do this type of modeling. So there's a couple of options. One is you can outsource it. You can actually have somebody do it, another firm, a consulting firm, or hire somebody to do this work for you. And that way, you have the skill set you need, it's up to date, so you're basically hiring that skill set. And because some companies will only do this effort every 6 months to a year or every couple of years, it may not make sense to have full-time personnel dedicated to stay up to date on network modeling capabilities. However, if you do want to bring it in-house and you really want to do a lot of network modeling throughout your different parts of your network, and maybe look at different parts of your network and model it separately, then we'd be able to train somebody. So you need to get the right personnel who are trained on the tool that you actually use internally. So there's a significant amount of capability and onboarding that's necessary to get people ready to model your network and be familiar enough with your data, your network, your personnel to make sure it's successful. Let everybody understand that nothing is set in stone. No facility is locked in, no customers are only served from certain facilities unless that's a requirement. We'll let the model choose what is optimal, and then we'll look at it if it makes sense to implement those recommendations.